Hey all, Pete here. It's very end of August and I wish I had someone to hold the camera, because what I'm doing today is a little pre-baiting and some scouting. I haven't ever pre-baited before for coyotes. This is my 5th year, I think, trapping coyotes, and I've never tried pre-baiting before. I've done it for coons, which is easy, but anyway. And so I'm out pre-baiting, and I guess got to give credit where credit is due. Andy Weiser, his coyote trapping video is phenomenal, and he does some pre-baiting, and he describes the purpose of it is just to get the coyotes used to coming down those trails. And he uses rotten fish, and he says they kind of get used to the trails and start rolling in it and getting comfortable digging stuff out of the ground. So I thought I'd give it a go this year, and I'm using used fryer oil from a fast food place. It's full of all kinds of smells. I know a lot of guys use it in bear bait, and so I figure, it can't hurt anything, and at best it may get the coyotes used to using these trails and to digging in the ground for stuff. The reason I'm trying the oil is because I feel like it'll soak into the ground, and coyotes hopefully will keep returning and digging at it and coming back and checking and making this part of the stop along their territory. And then my plan is to set the trails further down each side of where I pre-bait when I get back out here in October in about 5 weeks. So I'm gonna kind of flip the camera and show you what I'm doing here. So you could see there's a lot of trails through here. These are cattle trails. Cattle trails are good. I'm seeing coyote sign on these trails. There's a canal right over here, so there's a lot of opportunity for coyotes in this area to hunt for cottontails or other things, birds. Lots of trails through here. And then down here I've got my hole dug. I dumped a few gallons of that fryer grease in there, and then what I do after I dump it is I just kick that dirt in there, and I don't care if some of that grease spreads around on the ground, that's fine. But my goal is to get them used to digging for stuff in the ground, because that's going to be what I want them to do when I trap them. The other thing that I think will work really well for me this year is if I put some blind sets on these trails. I love blind trail sets. They're my favorite coyote set. They're the highest producing set for me every year. And as long as there are no cattle in here, those blind trail sets will work just fine. Those coyotes will be using the trail. They're not paying any attention. There's no smell. The trail set looks natural, and they're just walking down the trail and stepping the trap. It's my highest producing set. Every year it's my highest producing set. So if there's cows in here, I won't be able to do that. They'll set those traps off, so I'll have to set off the trails. I don't know if there are cows in here in the winter. This is my first year trapping this property. It's a big dairy owned land right on the edge of BLM. Great for coyote trapping. I've been really lucky to have a relationship with this landowner. And so I don't know where he puts his cows in the winter. If they're in here though, I'll have to set off the trails. Anyway, I'll let you know how this pre-baiting goes when I start setting this fall. If I catch anything close to my pre-baits, I'll shoot a video, a catch video, and then I'll point out where my pre-bait was in relation to where I caught the coyote. So pre-baiting, I'm giving it a shot this year. As far as getting stuff to use, I know a lot of guys bow hunt for carp, and so saving those in 5-gallon buckets and just letting them liquefy, I think that would work really well. I know that's what Andy Weiser uses, is fish, liquefied fish. I just went and talked to some people I know who own restaurants with fryers and just said, hey, can I have some grease? And I actually had, last weekend I was out pre-baiting another spot, and I had 25 gallons, so I had 5-gallon buckets of grease that I had thrown a whole bunch of freezer burnt meat into, hamburger and all kinds of stuff, and I let it sit for about a month, and I'm gonna tell you, man, that stuff was rancid. It was rancid. My wife, I had to keep it in the backyard. I couldn't keep it in the garage. It just sat out there and cooked in the sun. And I stirred it up every few days to release the gas and everything. And I would go out there, would be hundreds of flies around these buckets, even with the lids on. That worked really well. And then I needed a little more, so I talked to another friend who owns a truck stop, and I got some fryer grease. This is just regular fryer grease I'm using today, but it'll be fine. So fryer grease, I imagine, would work. We'll find out this year. I know Andy Weiser, my trapping hero, uses liquefied fish. And I do want to add, before I close, I want to thank Andy Weiser. Last year I made a video and I said my only trapping goal in my life was to have Andy Weiser watch one of my YouTube videos. And he did. And he told me it looked really good, and he liked my set. And that like totally made my day. So thank you, Andy. All right, remember, I'm Pete. God is great. Guns are good. Freedom is precious. I'll see you next time.